Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Translation: the living entity is in distress regarding his self-identity. He has no factual background, like a man who dreams that he sees his head cut off. Responsively, please. The living entity is in distress regarding his self-identity. He has no factual background, like a man who dreams that he sees his head cut off. Purport by His Divine Grace. A teacher in school once threatened his pupil that he would cut off the pupil's head and hang it on the wall so that the child could see how his head had been cut off. The child became frightened and stopped his mischief. Similarly, the miseries of the pure soul and the disruption of his self-identification are managed by the external energy of the Lord, which controls those mischievous living entities who want to go against the will of the Lord. Actually, there is no bondage or miseries for the living entity, nor does he ever loses his pure knowledge. In his pure consciousness, when he thinks a little seriously about his position, he can understand that he is eternally subordinate to the mercy of Supreme, and that his attempt to become one with the Supreme Lord is a false illusion. Life after life, the living entity falsely tries to lord it over material nature and become the Lord of the material world, but there is no tangible result. At last, when frustration, he gives up his material activities and tries to become one with the Lord and speculate with much jugglery of word, but without success. These activities are performed under the dictation of illusory energy. The experience is compared to the experience of once having his head cut off in a dream. The man whose head has been cut off also sees that his head has been cut off. If a person's head is severed, he loses his power to see. Therefore, if a man sees that his head has been cut off, it means that he thinks like that in a hallucination. Similarly, a living entity is eternally subordinate to the Supreme Lord, and he has this knowledge with him, but artificially he thinks that he is God himself, and that although he is God, he has lost his knowledge due to Maya. This conception has no meaning, just as there is no meaning to seeing one's hair being cut off. This is a process by which knowledge is covered, and because this artificial rebellious condition of the living entity gives him all trouble. It is to be understood that he should take to his normal life as a devotee of the Lord and be relieved from the misconception of being God. The so-called liberation of thinking one's self God is that last reaction of avidya by which the living entity is trapped. The conclusion is that a living entity deprived of eternal transcendental service to the Lord becomes illusion in many ways. Even in his conditioned life, he is the eternal servant of the Lord. His servitude under the spell of illusory Maya is also a manifestation of his external condition of service. Because he has rebelled against the service of the Lord, he is therefore put in the service of Maya. He is still serving, but in a perverted manner. When he wants to get out of service under material bondage, he next desires to become one with the Lord. This is another illusion. The best course, therefore, is to surrender to the Lord and thus get rid of the illusory Maya for good, as confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 7:14. Devi esha gunamayi mama maya duratyaya mayam mameva e prapadyante mayam etam tarantite. Huh? The living entity is in distress regarding his self-identity. He has no factual background, like a man who dreams that he sees his head cut off. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin iti namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gaurvani Pracharine Nirvisheshanyavadi Pachata Deshatarine Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam ena Bhutale Swayam Rup Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesh Gopika Kant Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchan Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishvanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriya Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namo. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advait Gadadhar Shivashadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. So this is a question answered by Maitreya Muni. In previous verse 9, Sri Maitreya said, certain conditioned soul put forward the theory that the Supreme Brahman or the personality of Godhead is overcome by illusion or Maya, and at the same time they maintain that he is unconditioned, This is against all logic. And question continues. The living entity is in distress regarding his self-identity. He has no factual background, like a man who dreams that he sees his head cut off. So, a living entity, spirit soul, he is in illusion, thinking that I am the body. There is no factual background to this. We are not the body. We are spirit soul. But in a dream, sometimes a dreamer sees that his head is cut off, or he is attacked by a tiger, or hallucination. He has taken so much drugs, so he is thinking he is flying in the air, and he goes off the window to fly and gets dead. He falls off the window. It's all due to ignorance or intoxication. So living entity is intoxicated, covered up, illusion by Maya, thinking that I am the God. Prabhupada says, I am Brahman. I am Brahman. So, this is Maya. A living entity cannot be a supreme being, cannot be the God. But he thinks like that. Here it is stated, in his pure consciousness, when he thinks a little seriously about his position, he can understand that he is eternal subordinate to the mercy of the Supreme, and that his attempt to become one with the Supreme Lord is a false illusion. So this is a false illusion, Maya. We are not this body, but Maya makes us think that we are this body. We are spirit soul, part and parcel of Krishna. So we have to come to this knowledge that we are spirit, we are spiritual, we are not this material body. I am Sat Chit Ananda, I am full of knowledge and bliss and eternal. So, this is our real identity. Instead of becoming God or instead of becoming material body, we should think we are spirit soul, part and parcel of Krishna. And that's why we have to serve Him. So this is our constitutional position. But due to Maya's tricks, we think we are the doer, we think we are God, we think so many other identification than the spirit soul. So Prabhupada says further, at last when frustrated, he gives up these material activities and tries to become one with the Lord and speculate with much jugglery of words, but without success. So he's speculating. What is the speculation? Is that I am the God. That's a speculation. And word jugglery, speculation. Word jugglery, he thinks that I am God. So this is the trick of Maya. Maya means it's an illusory energy of Supreme Personality of Godhead. It's an illusory energy of Krishna. And Maya puts living entity into first illusion that I am this material body. I am this body. I am white, I am black, I am American, Australian, Austrian, tall, short, all description about the body. So this is illusion. So Maya makes us think like that, I am this body. And second illusion Maya puts us in is that the expansion of my body, my wife, my children, my relatives, they are mine. That's the second illusion. Further illusion. To think that my kinsman belongs to me. And to think that they will protect me. Kalatra adisu bhaumedyadehi yatirtha buddhi salilena karachit janesu abhignesu saeva gukhara. Such man who thinks like this, that I am body and bodily relatives are mine, they are no better than ash, donkey. Okay. Okay. That I am, it's okay. That I am, that he is no better than ash and cow. Saeva Gokhara. This is what Krishna said in Bhagavatam. That Swadikalatradi Subhamedyatehi. That my birthplace is worshipable. I belong to my birthplace. Bhaumedyatihi. Swadikalatradeshu. That all this relative, Kalatra means own wife. Kalatra adi, etc. My children, they belong to me. So this is illusion. So we should, of course we should take care of them. That doesn't mean that we should not take care of our wife, husband, children. But to think that they will protect me, they will protect me at the end when I die. This is illusion, Maya. So Maya makes us suffer. Devi Esha Gunamayi Mama Maya Duratyaya. Duratyaya. She puts us into illusion, and that illusion creates fearfulness in us. We become fearful due to illusion. Duratyaya, very hard to cross over. And Mameve Prapad, the solution Krishna gives is Mameve Prapadyante Mayamitam Tarantite. Those who surrender unto Krishna, they can cross over this illusion. So it is, illusion is like, a very good example is given, that in dream we think that somebody cut off my head, even though somebody did not. When you wake up, your head is there on you. But in dream, we create all illusion. And in illusion, we think that somebody cut off my head. So this is Maya's trick. So like Prabhupada give example here that a student, child, and a teacher. So when a child was giving or making so much disturbance, a teacher says, I'll cut your head off and hang it over there, and you will see that your head is cut off. But if head is cut off, how he is going to see? But child is in illusion and gets frightened by that. Doesn't understand that if head is cut off, how I'm going to see? This is Maya. Maya makes you think and makes you think like it is a reality. But it is not reality. So if somebody wants to surpass Maya, get rid of Maya, the solution is given here, that Mamevaye Prapadyante Mayamitam Tarantite. Those who surrender unto Krishna, they cross over this illusory energy of Krishna, which is very difficult to cross over. Mayamitam Tarantite. So we have to surrender to Krishna. That's the whole process in Krishna consciousness. We have to surrender. We are thinking we are the doer. We are thinking I can be happy, I am happy. So many ways we think in illusion, which is not there. Birth, death, old age and disease will come and will take away everything. We don't think like that. We hardly think that I have to die. We hardly think that I'll be distressful. But it's coming. So we should, before it comes, we should surrender to Krishna and go back to home, back to Godhead, and enjoy eternally. This is, material world is dream. And we think that we will enjoy in material world. Birth, death, old age and disease is no bliss. And that is also repeated. Every time we keep repeating birth, death, old age and disease. It's very distressful. Especially death is distressful. We are attached to our body, money, house, children, wife, husband. We have to leave this. It's very distressful. So we have to surrender to Krishna. Mameve prapadyante. Then we can cross over this illusion and go back to home, back to Godhead, where there is no anxiety of any kind. you eternally enjoy with Krishna. So I will stop here, and any question we'll discuss. Anybody has any question at all? Any question? Yes, Maya?
Hi, Krishna. Thank you for the lecture. If you kindly can share with us your surrender, your process of surrender, since it is a
Yes,
surrender to Krishna.
yes. Well, I was back home. I was not trained to work. So, and when I went to America, I had to work. So I did not like it. And I was trying to find some alternative, how I can become blissful even without working. So, Krishna conscious activities is not working. It's out of love. You enjoy kirtan, prasad, being with devotees, peaceful, blissful, very nice atmosphere, especially chanting, dancing and feasting. Very nice, blissful experience. So I had to work behind the computer in the cube in the office, designing high-rise buildings, engineering. But I did not like it. It's every day, 8 hours a day, you sit behind the computers. So I was not happy. So I was looking for alternative, and I met Prabhupada in Toronto, and I asked Prabhupada, should I become your disciple? I already have a guru, Gaudiya Vaishnava Guru. Is there any need to accept you again as a guru? Then he knew my guru back home in Vrindavan. He knew him. He said he keeps woman, so woman servant. So I thought Prabhupada will blast my guru more. So I didn't ask him much question. But then I went to a house program with him. So room was very small. So Prabhupada was empathetically demanding, so since I came last, anybody join? Indian gentlemen join. And he keep asking. And everybody says, yes, Manhar Patel. So I was outside because there was no enough room. So I appeared on the door, and immediately he said, oh, he already joined. Anybody join? And meanwhile everybody gave me way to Prabhupada. And I sit down right in front of, in front of Prabhupada. And Prabhupada asked everybody why they are not joining. Why they are not joining. So then I said, Prabhupada, they are all impersonalists, Mayavadi. So Prabhupada liked that because he was, preaching about Mayavad and all people are Mayavad. He was blasting them. So he liked that. And then he asked me, so what are you doing for your living? So I said, I'm an engineer, a professional engineer. I work as an engineer. He says, we have so many engineers and doctors. Why don't you join? Why don't you become preacher? So then I already was practicing Sunday feast and going to temple, and I liked this life very much. And peaceful, blissful, happy, prasadam, dancing, singing, chanting, distributing books and whatnot. So I became a little more serious and joined the Krishna consciousness movement, and never left. So how do I surrender? I surrender to the president, that time Vishwakarma, he was the president. So you start your surrender from president. You surrender to a president. Prabhupada was traveling around the globe. So you have to surrender to his representative, who is president. There were no, when I joined, there were no GBCs, or there was only Prabhupada and his lectures, his letters, his Back to Godhead magazine, and his books. So he empathetically he make everybody understand that temple president is my representative, and you surrender to him. So we surrender to president, and whatever he said, we did immediately. Whatever he asked us to do, we did immediately. And without question, without any applying intelligence, whether he's right or wrong, we just surrender to him. And we make progress day by day, and eventually there are 11 gurus came, and we try to surrender to them, and like that we are ever surrendered, even now, to the movement. So that's how we surrender our life to this mission.
That time there was our prayers, service and surrender.
Yes, there was Jayom prayers, Jayom Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivadacharya Astottara Sata Sri Srimad Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Then in these prayers also, service and surrender ki. Service and surrender ki. You must have heard this. You must have heard. The service and surrender ki jai. So we have to surrender and serve. That's the secret of success in spiritual life. Krishna loves that. Krishna, who will not love, who is person who is surrender and serving menially. Serving and of course this is not menial service in a way. This is transcendental, loving, devotional service. Out of love we serve. It's not job, it's not paid, it's not pushed to the throat. There are no deadlines and so forth. It's a service out of love and devotion. So That's how one has to surrender without questioning our intelligence. Our superior said it, and we have to do it immediately, without questioning. That is how one can surrender. Surrender means anukulena sankalpa pratikulena varjanam rakshaiti vishwasho goprutve varnam tatha atmanikshep kalpanye sadavida saranagati. Surrender means 6 things. Whatever is favorable to Krishna consciousness, we should accept immediately, without question. And whatever is not favorable to Krishna consciousness, we should reject it immediately, without question. That is surrender, accepting favorable thing and rejecting not favorable thing, illicit sex, gambling, meat eating, intoxication, etc. Not favorable. We should reject. And whatever is favorable, we should accept immediately. Chanting and cooking for the Lord and performing arti and so many things. Favorable things. Reading Prabhupada books, hearing Prabhupada, distributing his books. So many favorable things. We should accept immediately. That is surrender. Anukulena sankalpa pratikulena varjanam raksaititi vishwasho. And firm faith that Krishna will protect me under all circumstances. We should be firmly fixed that Krishna will protect me. And He does. He protected Prahlad Maharaj. He protected Bali Maharaj. He protected demons, Draupadi. He protected. Why He will not protect me? That firm faith is surrender. He will protect me. Rakshaititi Vishwa Goprutve Varnam Tata. And He will provide me my necessity. He provides to ant and elephant. Why He will not provide to His devotees? He will provide. So, Goprute Varnam Tata Atmanikshep, we should surrender our mind, intelligence, body. We should surrender to Him. Atmanikshep kalpanye, and we should be utmost humble, humility. We should serve in humility. This is surrender. So we learned this over a period of time. And in surrendering there is unlimited bliss. And rebellious, there is unlimited suffering. We learned that. The more you surrender, the more bliss comes to you. But we don't want to surrender. That's a living entity's problem. So it's a process. Every day we practice. You can surrender overnight also, but it's a process. Any other question? Yes, Mia.
We see lots of devotees are living their lives outside, of course, of the temple. They have jobs, they have families and everything, and they have to use intelligence to handle all of that. And how to overcome that gap to surrender without intelligence, how to switch off the intelligence.
Well, we have to use our intelligence. There is that much. We have to use intelligence. Prabhupada says, how does he say? Anyway, we have to...
One thing you should not surrender.
Huh?
One thing you should not surrender, that is your intelligence. Did you mean that?
No, we should surrender our intelligence.
But
Of course.
when you go in front of Guru, then
Huh?
when you go in front of Guru,
Okay, when you looking for a guru, that's a different subject matter altogether. But we should use our intelligence for surrendering also. We should understand everything with our intelligence. And if you see that your guru is not going to cheat you, and you have from faith in him, like Srila Prabhupada, kind of guru, then we don't have to use our intelligence. Just do whatever he says immediately. So we can apply our intelligence. That's why it is given to us. So coming back to your question, what was
she
it?
said we don't have to use intelligence to surrender.
To surrender to the authority.
Well,
But to oppose the authority, do we have to then use our intelligence or not, or how to overcome that?
well, the authority is trustworthy, like Prabhupada, or like many leaders we have in our movement, and even temple presidents. If they are trustworthy, then we should surrender. But if they cheat you, or they want to cheat, then we have to also apply our intelligence that this is cheating. So, but there is a check and balance in our movement. So we should surrender to the authority. The authority is under check. So if authority is cheating, then it will come out. You cannot hide it. You cannot hide it. It will come out. So we cannot cheat in Krishna consciousness, because everything is laid down in scriptures, Prabhupada writing, Prabhupada letters, Prabhupada lectures. Everything is laid down. What is truth and what is not truth. So cheating immediately will come out. So we should surrender to the authority. And that is what is lacking. That's what is lacking. And even if the authorities are cheating us, what will be the great loss? Great loss. There is not great loss. We make so much advancement, and there may be cheating, so some loss, but we so much benefited by advancing, listening to the authority. We made so much advancement. So there may be some cheating. I'm not saying every leader is spotless. Prabhupada says we should doubt. We should doubt. But not to the extent that we don't listen to anybody, keep doubting. Huh?
And then leave.
And then leave. And then spoil our good chance to go back to home, back to Godhead in human form of life. Even if you get cheated, you are benefited. In Krishna consciousness, there is no diminishing. There is no. You always make progress. Huh?
No loss.
No loss. Any other question? Yes, Larka?
I will ask you this question in the name of my friend who is too shy to ask. So her question is it possible to come back to Godhead in this lifetime? In one lifetime, in this lifetime?
We are back to home, back to Godhead already. What else is back to home, back to Godhead? Back to home, back to Godhead means service and surrender. That is back to home, back to Godhead. You serve there, you serve here. This is Prabhupada's, my temples are Golok Vrindavan. My temples are Vaikunthas, he said. And this is Vaikuntha. This is Vaikuntha. We are back to home, back to Godhead. And if you're not, then it's just a matter of fixing your consciousness. Fix it. We should fix our consciousness. Moraman Vrindavan. Jadin gehete bhajana dekhi, gehete golok bhai. Bhaktivinoda Thakur. When I see there is bhajan in my home, my house turns into Golok Vrindavan. And here, whole activity is geared up around Gaur Nitai, Radha Krishna. We are back to home, back to Godhead. What is more we going to find in Vaikuntha or Golok Vrindavan? We have Krishna. There is Krishna, we have Krishna here. There is Prabhupada, we have Prabhupada here also. We have his books, Bhagavatam is here, everything is here. And I am blissful. I am back to home, back to Godhead.
You have to give
Because, see, I am not afraid of dying, leaving this body. This COVID is gone and give me quite a bit of realization about death, that people are died out of fear. And I never put my mask on. Of course, Radharani was protecting me in Vrindavan. But we are eternal, we are spirit soul. We never die. Na jayate na miriyate kadachin. Nayam bhutva bhavita vanabhuya. Ajo nityam sasvato yam pura. Nahanete hanimane sarire. We never die. We are eternal here. And this is Golok Vrindavan. When Maya is there, then you are in this material world. But you get rid of Maya once for all, illusion. And you come into the Yoga Maya. Maya, zero, and Yoga Maya. Illusory Maya, zero, and Yoga Maya. So you travel all the time in Maya, darkness, and so you keep traveling in Maya. You come to neutral, Tathastha Sakti, Veda Ved Prakash, and then come on this side, Yoga Maya. Yoga Maya is that Maya which brings us more closer to Krishna. And this Maya, illusory Maya, makes us far away from Krishna, takes away from Krishna. So we should dwell in Yoga Maya and live in Yoga Maya, blissful, peaceful, happy life. We are back to home, back to Godhead.
Prabhupada says, give this life to Krishna.
Yes. Yes, we should give this life to Krishna. We should get rid of illusion. Thinking that I am going to die, I am this body, I am distressful, this full, that full. Distress is also illusion, illusory distress. Distress is there because we identify with our material body. Bhayam dvitiya viniveshyat syat ishadu petatya viparjaya smrutihi. Tanmayaya, illusory energy, comes into picture. We have to get rid of Maya, come to neutral position, and then come on this side, Yoga Maya. Then we are back to home, back to Godhead. What else is there new in spiritual world, Golok Vrindavan, that is not here? Krishna is also here, Prabhupada is also here, and more so in Vrindavan, or more so in our heart, in our consciousness, in our temples. Blissful process. We can become blissful now, not next, not then, not tomorrow, now. Yes.
Material world is a dangerous place, so it can happen.
But we have very little to do with material world. What we have to do with material world? Leave it. Just like stool, you just leave it. Who has anything to do with stool? This is stool. Isn't it? Dirty. Material world is dirty. So we have to raise our consciousness. That's the whole point. To Krishna consciousness. To Krishna consciousness.
Many congregational devotees, they say they don't like to come to the temple because they don't like temple president, he's popped up, he's too young to be authority, or atmosphere in the temple is not nice, they don't feel welcome, or the mood is not proper, prashadam is such and such. So what can both sides do so everyone can feel welcome and come?
Wonderful question. Both sides has to do. That's the answer. You answer it already. Both has to do something. If there is something coming up, then there has to be some reality or some truth. If there is a smoke, then we have to conclude there has to be some fire. So both has to work together. A good leader, like we discussed yesterday, facilitates everybody to advance in spiritual life. And temple is the clubhouse where everybody comes together and serves Krishna and derive bliss from that service. So a temple president should become very inviting, loving, and taking care of them. Whoever comes, you talk to them, you communicate with them, you phone them, you whatever service according to their propensity, we should engage them in service. Somebody likes cooking, somebody likes worshipping, somebody likes media, somebody likes doing flower, garland, this, that. According to propensity, we can engage them. So many tricks we can learn for managing. One thing that manager can do is Krishna will forgive us, but devotee will not. So we have to see that devotees, they, in other words, we should become so much friend with them that there is no question of ill feelings, forgiving, forgiveness, this, that. A good leader communicates so much. Communication with newsletters, communication by WhatsApp. Telegram is good because so many 10,000 people, you can be in one group, you can communicate with them. And communication, when they come, greet them, offer whatever they like, whatever service they like, engage them in their propensity, and learn to say sorry, learn to accept the mistake, not my way or highway. That used to be philosophy once in our movement. My way or highway. Leaders have their way. If you don't match with those leaders, then you have to. So it's not that anymore. But at the same time, we have to engage everybody in devotional service to Krishna. So a leader has to come halfway to the middle. And a congregation also should understand that without going to temple, a club, they cannot make any progress. They must come to temple and serve deity by so many means: cooking, worshipping, singing, distributing, so many unlimited seva, unlimited services are there in the temple. So we should do that service that if we like, we do, that is third class. But if we do the things that is asked by authorities, that is first class. Because authority knows what should be done, what not should be done, how we can all progress, folks together. So we should, or the congregation also should learn to listen and surrender to authority. Unless the authority is cheating or exploiting you for himself or anything like that. But the congregation duty is that they must come to the temple, 10-mile radius minimum, and then they should serve. This is Prabhupada's instruction. So we should listen to Prabhupada's instruction. Even if you don't like president, come here, sweep or cook or go on altar, president doesn't mind. But it's just another excuse for congregation that authority is no good. It's an excuse. They don't want to come. They don't want to surrender. They don't want to serve. Prabhupada gave a formula of a bundle of sticks together. We have to stick together. Unity in diversity, diversity in unity. We have to follow principles. Prabhupada has given so much teaching. Biggest problem in our society now is that this kind of illusion that temple authority is no good. Temple authority is good. It is appointed by Krishna. It's not vote. By vote we have a temple authority or GBC, or by vote you become GBC. By vote you become guru or whatever. It's selected by Krishna. We have to see that transcendental vision that temple authorities are selected by Krishna and Prabhupada. We make temple president's life so miserable that they don't want to become temple president. Nobody wants to become temple president because we make their life very miserable. We gun point every time. Everybody pokes gun at him. This is no good. A temple president is most surrendered soul. He's taking a load of whole temple and area. What to talk about whole state and whole country. He takes so much. So that in itself, for us to enough for us to surrender. That is taking so much responsibility and every time. But everybody's target, temple president, everybody's target. He doesn't come Bangladesh, he doesn't do this, he didn't do that, he didn't do this, he doesn't. How much a poor fellow can do? Just like there is a big joke, old age joke, that there was a donkey. You have heard that joke, no? Donkey joke, no? There was a donkey, and people asked donkey, "Can you haul bricks?" "Yes, I can haul bricks, no problem." Then they asked donkey, "Can you run?" "Yes, I can run." "Can you sit down?" "Yes, I can sit down." Everything, yes, yes. But they ask, "Can you become temple president of ISKCON?" He says, "No." No. So why? Because we make his life miserable, so miserable.
We should appreciate.
Yeah, we should appreciate our leaders and we should execute his command. And we have brain, we are intelligent. If he says something off, if he says something not within Krishna consciousness, then we know. Because there is a knowledge given to us in lectures, books, and knowledge is there. So no illicit sex, gambling, meat eating, intoxication. This is, all laws are there. All laws are there. So if he's engaging us in Krishna's service, we should not doubt.
We should ask for more.
We should ask for more service. The service is where everything is at. Whomever you serve, that person loves you. You serve Krishna, Krishna will love you. You serve dog, dog will love you. You serve devotees, devotees will love you. The service, we have to serve. Rather than finding faults with management. So both ways, we have to work. A congregation has to put faith in a devotee, young or old, doesn't matter. Bring old. We had so many old devotees here. They are gone. So many devotees, old devotees, were in charge of this temple. It's a new era, new blood, new. I am old man, I have to now give it to somebody and move on. So this is wrong on congregation part. Congregation should come, at least minimum 10 miles radius congregation should come every single day to the temple and lift up some straw within temple, do some service. Do some service. Then you can, if you do long enough service, day in and day out for years, then you have a right to criticize your management. But you don't even have that kind of service and you just put gun at the temple president. That's not right. Poor temple president. And by himself alone, he will be by himself serving everything. Impossible. So that's what love, trust, cooperation means. Prabhupada says we should love each other, cooperate with one another, and trust and serve together. Festivals and enjoy bliss. Krishna consciousness is supposed to give us bliss, and if it is not giving us bliss, that means you are not doing pure devotional service. The characteristic of pure devotional service is Sandra Anand Visheshatma. That pure devotional service puts you on a highest level of spiritual happiness. It puts you on a bliss. And if the devotional service doesn't put you on bliss, then something is wrong with you, not with others. So we have to work both sides. We are not taking side. Congregation also should work with management, and the management should also work with the congregation. There can be tough lines also. If you make mistake, the authority can take hard line. And we should allow him to take that hard line. We should take that punishment. Not that he's wrong, he's giving me hard time. No, you're giving a hard time. And a spiritually elevated person or spiritually trying to advance, that person will never have problem with any authority in the temple. Any other question?
In Vancouver, when you was president, you distribute different departments.
Yeah. I don't want to talk about myself. Any other question? Okay. Thank you very much. Granth-raj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Sisi Gaur Nitai ki, Radha Shyam Sundi Lalita Vishaka Devi ki, Gaur Premanandi.